Hi, friends, and welcome to Self Meets Soul, a podcast where we discuss how to discover what sets your soul on fire and modern ways to integrate spirituality into your daily life. My name is Juliana, and in today's episode, we're going to be chatting about intersectionality and how it shows up on the spiritual journey. Intersectionality is all about the interconnected nature of social categorizations such as race, class, religion, gender, or sexuality, and how it affects a group or individual. Intersectionality reminds us that we are not just one label that society might perceive us as, but a number of different identities that impacts the way we live our life. Our guest today is a multifaceted human who has a passion for recognizing these parts of himself and others so that he can relate to the people around him and deepen his sense of interconnectedness with all beings. Sidney Thompson is here with us to talk about his experience with intersectionality and how it has impacted his spiritual journey. Welcome to the show, Sidney.
Thank you for having me.
So before we get into today's topic, I want to know, what is something that lights up your soul?
What lights up my soul? Currently, I just feel like walking in my purpose is lighting up my soul. Like, this is the first time in my life where I honestly, truly feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, And like, I was talking to my friend today and I was like, it's crazy that this, and I was like, stop saying that things are crazy. Like, this is just life and this is how things are supposed to happen. And I feel like living intentionally has really like changed the way that I do life, and like just living with intention, I don't know, it's just like a light, and it's just, I don't know.
No, that's totally makes sense.
Just lights me, sets me on fire, I guess.
Good. I love that. So to get us started here, what are some social categories or identities that really resonate with you?
Okay, so as far as like pronouns, my pronouns are he, him, but I also identify, so social category, so I'm a black man, I'm gay, a student, a friend, a brother. Like, there's a lot of different social categories that I feel like that I fit into. I'm multiracial. I come from parents that are children of biracial parents, and just a lot of categories, honestly. There's not like one, but ultimately the main category is human.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
How do you feel like these identities have shaped your spiritual journey?
So I grew up in the church, and like church where I was at there like Monday through Saturday, like Sunday through Saturday, like every day. And just growing up a little black gay boy in Georgia, like I've always known that I like boys or men, and just religious wise, like I've always felt like, oh, you're gonna go to hell because you're gay and all this stuff, and like never seen any aspects of me in religion, or actually you do see aspects of gay people in religion. It's always the choir directors and the piano players and all those people.
You're like, wait a second.
Right, exactly. And I was just like, well, I mean, I like them, but that ain't me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not a tambourine player or none of those things. But ultimately, like, I struggled with religion, with my identity, because like the Bible says that we're made in God's image and everything God makes is perfect. And so if I've had these feelings and emotions since I was 3, 4, 5 years old, like, and I'm not being represented, but I'm being told that I'm wrong, it's like kind of confusing.
Oh yeah, I bet.
And so that just sent me on my own spiritual journey, because I used to pray all the time and ask God to like change me and like make me different. And like one day I literally heard an audible voice and was like, literally like, bro, stop. Like, if you ask me to change you one more time, like, we're going to have a problem.
Yeah.
Because it was literally like an internal voice, and it was like, you're made in my image and I made you this way. Like, there's nothing wrong with you. And like from that day forward, I never questioned that aspect of like who I was as a person, because there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with being gay,
That's amazing that you eventually just heard that voice. Do you feel like you were kind of praying for that for a while before you finally came to that acceptance?
Yeah. Honestly, I think so. But yeah, I would say yes, because like, not to get religious, like Jesus didn't say anything, like there's not the word homosexuality, for my context of studying and being in college and going to a Christian university, like the word homosexuality is nowhere in the New Testament, right?
Yeah.
And so the point of Jesus coming to earth was the new covenant, because being a Christian was too hard. Like, God killed his whole creation because we couldn't do it right. Like, he flooded the world, right? And so Jesus talks about, like, loving thy neighbor as thyself, and, like, he led with compassion and led with love, and I do that. And if that's what I'm doing and that's what Jesus did, then there's definitely nothing wrong with me, because Jesus was hanging out with the people that are like me.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I feel like sometimes we subconsciously or unconsciously put out the things that we want to get an answer to. And it's just, we may be getting the answer, but if you're not ready to hear what is being spoken to you,
facts.
you're never going to hear it. And you're always going to live your life thinking there's something wrong with you. And there's not. Like, Jesus is a perfect example of intersectionality. Like, if you just think about it, like, all these things. He's 1, 2, and 3 people, right? He's also a human. He's also a child. He's also a brother. But then also in the same time, is like, he has to be all these things for all these different people. And he did all of those things, but he was also still himself.
Yeah.
So, not to get too spiritual.
I know. I realized, I was like, yes, you're like, right? And I'm like, I actually don't know anything about the Bible, but I'm like, yeah.
No, sorry. I'm not a pro or anything, and I could be wrong, but yeah, it's just religion causes, I feel like, a lot of conflict.
Right. That's a whole different story.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that is so true, though. Like, you can know something deep down, and that all comes to your intuition. Like, the amount of times I have caught myself knowing things in hindsight, or even, I don't know if you've ever done this, where you've gone through maybe some, like, life change or something, and you go and look back at your journal entries, and you're like, I was saying this a year ago.
Right.
Like, I knew this whole
Exactly.
time. And you ignore it, and eventually it can be like what you heard, like a voice just straight up being like, come on.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
I'm screaming at you. This is how it is. This is what you need to do. You know?
Beat that in. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Crazy experiences. So, have you ever felt excluded from spiritual spaces or any spaces in general due to your identities? And if so, how did you handle that?
Yes, because I feel like in this society, like, spirituality, in this society, when you think of spirituality, it does not, like, society doesn't paint spirituality towards people that look like you and I.
Yeah.
And so, like, when Black and brown people do spiritual things like light incense or burn candles or sage and Palo Santo, it's like, ooh, you're doing witchcraft.
Yeah,
and
it's giving voodoo.
The voodoo, but let Becky with her turban do it and ring a gong, and oh my gosh, she's a guru.
Yeah.
How?
Which is interesting, because that's not where all of these practices did not come from
Europe.
The people who are, like, practicing it today in the mainstream, you know?
Right. And so I'll just talk about, like, yoga, like, spirit, like, well, yoga to me is very spiritual.
Right.
And so I've always been, like, this eclectic person to, like, do different things. And so I always wanted to do yoga and, like, go into those spaces just to, like, clear my energy and, like, be better. But I would go into yoga spaces or certain spaces like that, and as soon as I walk in the door, everybody just looks at me and stares. And I'm just like...
He's looking over his shoulder.
Right, I'm like looking around at everybody. I'm like, is somebody else? Oh, y'all are just staring at me. Like, am I not welcome in this space? And so, like, a lot of times all the stuff that I do now, like the practices, I just didn't do them at all, because I'm like, well, clearly society says this is not for me. But then, like, the universe kept bringing people into my space that do the same things and like the same things that I do. And so ultimately, because there was no space that I felt comfortable in, I just started creating my own spaces, hence my business's name. So
right.
Yeah, I just created my own space and just realized that me being authentic, if that offends other people, that has nothing to do with me. Like, me living in my truth and me being kind and me being genuine and me taking up space and cultivating my own peace or doing whatever I want to do, like, that is okay, and I'm entitled to do that because I have permission.
Exactly. Yeah, and I had, like, similar experiences with, because how I got into spirituality as well was really like yoga,
Yeah.
starting to practice yoga, and I was going a lot to, and I'll name drop it because it's like, what you gonna do? I started out at Core Power, and that's who I got certified through, and they're a big corporation. They have locations all over the country, and I was practicing there for 2 years before I got my certification, and I was mostly going in Tempe because I started in college, and so there's a lot of like college students who would go. So I didn't notice any difference really, because I'm like, we're all just college students, it's fine. But then when I graduated and started going to the Old Town Scottsdale location, that was when I just increasingly, it just felt like it came out of nowhere. Yeah. I was walking in there and I was just like getting fed up of being the only Black person there. Yeah. And I'm used to being one of two in the space anyways. Like I've grown up with that. Yeah. But it started to really bother me. Yeah. And I don't know why. Just one day I was like, I'm tired of this. Yeah. And I stopped going. Like, I didn't want to go anymore. And so then, I had to go and find other spaces. So it's great that this is part of your mission, because it's hard to find, especially in, certain states. Yeah. It's hard to find those spaces. Yeah, I feel that.
You just got to create your own space. Like, when we did the new moon ceremony on the 1st, so we're saying like that you have the right, like it's your human right to take up as much space as you need, and you should never shrink. Like, we should never shrink ourselves for anybody. Yeah. Like, never dim your light. Like, if my light's too bright for you, you can close your eyes.
I like that.
You can put on glasses and bask in the light, or you could go somewhere else in the dark. But I'm not turning my light off or turning it down for nobody else because you are afraid of my light. Okay, boo. Yes. I'm not doing that, and nobody should have to do that. Like you said, you got fed up because it does make you feel small. Like, whenever you're not represented in a space, like you feel like, okay, like, who do I have to be for these people today? Like,
right. And it gets old getting looked at, like you mentioned. Mm-hmm. It gets old. I remember being younger and growing up, going to Italy, and there's like 0 Black people in my mom's small hometown, except for immigrants who are coming over, and people just staring at me all the time, growing up, all the time. And my mom being like, they're looking at you because you're beautiful. And I get what she was trying to do as a mom, because I'm also a child. Yeah. But it's like, I knew that wasn't it. Sure, maybe for some people. Yeah. But the majority, that's not the reason. That part, for a majority of it. And it's, you can get used to it, I guess, that feeling. But you shouldn't have to, like you're saying.
Yeah, you shouldn't have to get used to feeling uncomfortable. Like, no. I'm gonna walk in this room, I'm gonna hold my head up high, and I'm gonna take up as much space as I want. I'm not gonna be disrespectful, and I'm here, and deal with it or don't.
Exactly. Yeah. So are there any spiritual practices, I know we have talked a little bit about yoga, but maybe besides yoga, that have helped you embrace all of your identities?
Yes. So I don't know, like, I've just over the time, like people have just come into my life and just given me things that help them. And so I'm, like I was saying, I'm big on intentions right now for this year. And recently, like, the whole new moon thing started with our friend Danielle. It was just the two of us, and she came to my house. I like cleared space in the living room, and I found like this old pot in my cupboard and we just did a burning ceremony, and I was just like, you know what, let's just like write stuff down. Like, the new moon is like, I was doing research, and like the new moon is a good time, or the full moon is a good time for you to like just let things go, because like the new moon is the beginning, and you go through the cycle of the 15 days or however long the moon cycle is, and it's just like a good representation, like how to cleanse your things. Like, a lot of stuff that we put up with in life, and we like just regurgitate it all the time, but I found that like writing things down and disposing of them, whether it's on a piece of paper, I burn it, I throw it in the trash, ball it up, whatever, it kind of is a physical manifestation of like a representation of me letting something go. Like, I let go fear. I let go of, I don't know, not being enough or whatever. But like those burning ceremonies on the full moon, and the intention ceremonies that I do on the new moon is just like sitting down and just like being intentional and like, you know what? Like, this is what I want to be. And yes, it may be impossible, but to who? Like, it's only impossible if I say it's impossible.
Exactly.
And so, like, being specific and just like writing stuff down, and it's like really has like changed my mindset, because there's this, like, in psychology or therapy, it's called ACT, which is acceptance commitment therapy. So ACT. And there's this book called The Happiness Trap. And basically what it talks about is like how society has caused people to get in this trap of being happy 24/7, right? And so that's unrealistic. Yeah. Like, in 24 hours out of the day, happiness is not the only emotion that you can feel. Because when you're hungry and people are getting on your nerves, are you happy?
No.
Right, but pretending that you're happy is a detriment to yourself, because you're claiming emotion that is not really yours.
Yeah.
And so acceptance commitment therapy is actually basically that, claiming the emotion. Like, if you're not happy, say, you know what, today I'm not feeling the best. Mm-hmm. And that's okay for you to tell people that you don't feel well. Yeah. And so that being said is like just being okay with not being okay, and like just sitting in those situations and like being intentional with myself and figuring out like what I want and how I need to get there, and the higher power telling them, hey, this is what I want. Send the things in my life. Some people call it prayer, call it manifestation. You're still talking. Yeah. And it's just that, just surrounding myself with people that vibrate on the same frequency or higher than me. Like, I always aspire to be better the next day. And like, I say this to you all the time, and I feel like we just resonate with each other so well, because I just see something in you that I want to be. Like, you have your master's. I'm
like, me?
Yes.
That's how I feel about you.
No, because like, you have your master's degree, and you're younger than me. You already have your master's degree. I'm 38 years old, and it's not a race against it's like you're only racing against yourself. But it's just like, she did that at this age. So, you know what, Sid? You better keep going and get your master's degree. And she has a podcast, and that's something that you want to do. Like, okay, look at you. Like, you can still, like, I can still achieve those things, even though I'm older than you. Like, like Aaliyah said, age ain't nothing but a number. But, like, that doesn't dictate my journey. Like, I'm still going to do it. And, like, I just look for people that inspire me, ultimately.
Definitely. And that just changes, like you said, it inspires you, and it changes how you feel and your vibration. And that's literally how I feel every time, like, you host these events. And I'm so excited. It's funny you said, like, some days you're just not going to feel good. And it was, I don't know if it was the Super Bowl or some other day where I was coming here, and Danielle was going to pick me up or something. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to go. I just don't. Yeah. I just feel like not great today for no reason. Yeah. Like, I really couldn't. Tried to listen and pinpoint what it was, and I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I just like don't feel that well today. Yeah. But I'm like, I always have such a good time when I'm there, and then I came, obviously, and I just always leave feeling so good, so seen, so just like, oh my God, like these people literally think the same way I do, and they look how I look. And I feel like I don't have to explain anything, and I don't sound nuts, and it's just like, so that's just so important in the journey, and realizing like you can relate to these people on different levels, not just because, we're all black and brown people, also, but because we all have these different identities that, mesh well together. Right.
And the crazy thing is, like, intersectionality, I first heard the term in 2019. I was working for Planned Parenthood. Shout out to Planned Parenthood.
Woo, we love you.
But I was working as a campus coordinator at Weber State University, and I was the co-president for this club called SURF, and it stood for Students United for Reproductive Freedom. And basically, like, we just did tabling events and just told students about the services that Planned Parenthood offered. Like, people just think it's abortion services. Like, it's literally the last thing on their list.
Right.
And so access to healthcare is important. And so that was literally what I was there to do. Like, you can come here and get all your female stuff done. They have anti-pregnancy stuff, like condoms and all of that stuff. Like, you can go there and be seen and not feel ashamed that you're having sex. Like, it's okay. Like, people see you, I see you. If you don't want to take any condoms right now, just write your name on this piece of paper, text me, right. And I will meet you after the event is over, and I will answer any questions. And so I first heard the term, like I said, with intersectionality with Planned Parenthood. And so I discovered that we like our identities sometimes like make us feel like we're in a box, right? And so like I was like, oh, I'm a black man. I'm gay. I'm a black gay man. All these things. And so they literally had us write on a piece of paper. It had intersectionality in the middle, and it had like all these arms, different lines, and different bubbles. And we just had to write everything that described us. Mm-hmm. And I was just looking at it as like, I don't ever operate in just like all of myself. Like I pick and choose like how I show up in the world, and having to be different how you show up in the world every day is exhausting.
Oh yeah.
Like it's so exhausting, and just like it finally clicked. It's like, be you. Yeah. Like all of you, all of everything. Like be country, be sassy, be gay, be black, be quiet, be loud, be whatever. Like all of those things are things that make you you, and living your intersectionality, and middle finger to who has a problem with it.
So true. Which is kind of what I was going to ask you next, was how you reconcile multiple aspects of your identity that may seem at odds.
Looking in the mirror. Like, I feel like a lot of times we ask permission from too many people.
So true. Or advice.
Right. Instead of just like looking in the mirror and be like, Sid or Juliana, like, what do you want to do? How do you want to show up today? Like, ask yourself permission to take up as much space as you can, instead of asking the world or other people's opinions. And like, we only can meet other people as deep as we've met ourselves. And that has allowed me to operate in my intersectionality and like love all parts of myself, and check myself when I check myself when I'm bashing a part of who I am. And like, no, we're not doing that today. Like, you're not dumb, you're not fat, you're not worthless, you're not any of those things. Like, no, you're not that. And so we're not going to talk to ourselves like that, because words are powerful, and whatever you think about yourself is what you become. And so when we start thinking that we are these things, and we will become these things, and no longer live for what other people think about us. Like, that's cute that you have an opinion, but it's not needed nor wanted in how I show up for myself. Because ultimately, your intersectionality is you showing up for you. Like, the people that receive that, that's just a gift to them.
Right.
But you just being your authentic self, like, a lot of people would have a lot less stress, I feel, or a lot less anxiety, or a lot less whatever they have more of. Like, just breathing and just being you, and just like
learning how to hear that inner voice. Because I think it, especially when you have, and you know, it comes out of a good place, I think a lot of times, where you have this people in your life who you maybe look up to, or who know you, feel like people who see you, and it can be easy to fall into the trap of asking their opinions, asking them their advice, or whatever it may be, and that does end up being a detriment to yourself, because you're not, like you said, looking yourself in the mirror and being like, okay, noise aside, everyone else aside, yes, you do have this great community, but like, it's you. The only person who's going to be with you till the very end, till your last breath, is you. So, like, you gotta live authentically to you, which also looks like embracing all of those parts of you. Yeah. That's awesome. That's something I feel like I've gotten better at.
Yeah, same.
But I am so used to being like, something happens and I'm like, I'm gonna text my friend for advice, or I'm gonna blah, blah, blah. And it's like, just slow down.
Right.
Because you know the answer.
Right.
You know.
Right.
Especially those times where you do ask someone something and they tell you it, and then you're like, I don't want to listen to that.
Right. Because you already know what you're supposed to be doing.
You're like,
right.
I'm going to text him anyways, or whatever it is.
Right. I'm going to ask this question because I already know the answer.
Right.
Like, I already know you're going to say no, Mom, but can I go spend the night at my friend's house?
Right. Right.
If you already know the answer, why did you ask?
Why did you ask?
Right.
Seriously. So what advice do you have for people who struggle with accepting like intersectionality and all their identities?
I say advice. The first piece of advice would to be set boundaries with people that don't allow you to be authentic. Like if you're finding you're around people that make you feel like you have to be less than in order to make themselves better, feel better, like set a boundary and like don't be around those people. Two is you have to be able to like meet yourself, and it takes therapy. Honestly, I'm not even gonna lie. Like I started going to therapy for real, like in 2020 when my dad passed away, and it just allowed me, honestly. So I was in this therapy group called Uplifting Black Voices at Weber State, and the therapy group was about racial trauma, and I just like in my life I was like racial trauma, like PTSD, like that type of stuff. And so it was the first time ever in my life that I had met people outside of where I had grown up that had experienced racism on the level that I experienced racism growing up. And I was just like, wait a minute. Okay, this is new. Like,
it's not just me.
Right, it's not just me, but it would just allow me to be like, okay, there's other people that see me. And they're allowing me to show up this way and like tell my story and talk about my things and not tell me, oh, that's not what they meant, or you're over exaggerating. Like, okay, maybe I am. I'm crazy now.
Yeah.
And so, but you have to, like saying, getting away from those people that do that, but ultimately, like healing those things that you feel uncomfortable about. Like, you have to be able to look in the mirror every day and be happy with what you see. And so, meet yourself, and that will allow you to be you. Honestly, yeah. And the people that are going to welcome you, they're going to come. Like, a lot of times we get hooked up on family. Like, a lot of people that we call family are just relatives. Like, it's cute. Like, y'all are related.
Yeah.
That's not your family. So, just be open and ask the universe to send those people that will allow you to take up the space. And they will come.
Definitely.
Yeah. Just two things. Meet yourself and set boundaries.
No, two very important things. I feel like it was kind of funny when you mentioned the boundaries thing, because I brought that up in therapy, and my therapist was like, this is kind of sounding like avoidant attachment, basically. And I was like offended. I was like, I'm not avoidant. If anything, I'm anxious attachment. She's like, you can't set boundaries without trying to establish them first. And this is like not totally on topic, but I'm just curious your thoughts. Like, is that something when you do set boundaries? Because what I thought is like, I'm having the same situation where it's like, I feel like I have to dim my light around these group of friends or whatever. I'm just going to pull away.
Yeah.
But that's what my therapist was saying is avoidant. Like, I should bring it up first.
Yeah.
Do you find that you do that, or?
So, great question, because I was just talking about this last night.
Yeah.
And because I'm reading the book, Set Boundaries, Find Peace. And, like, there is avoidance boundaries where, like, in the past, I would be like, you know what? I'm just blocking your number and deleting thread. And that's very avoidant boundary. Like, you're out of sight, out of mind. And that does nothing for you because you're still have this feelings about how they made you feel because you never told them.
Yes.
And
that's
so,
yeah.
And so I'm like, well, how do I know how to be better if you don't give me an opportunity to tell me what I'm doing wrong to be better? And so we do better when we know better. And
that's so true.
Yeah. And so I used to be that way, honestly. Like, I'm not even going to lie. Like, case in point, like something as recently as yesterday. So a situation with family, and at first I just went through the contact and blocked it. And then I was like, no, I'm not doing that. Say it with your chest. Like, tell them how you feel. And so I texted how I felt, and then I waited for them to respond, and then I responded again. And then they just hearted the conversation and then just gave a 2-word response. And then I deleted the number and deleted the thread because I told you and this is how you responded.
Right.
So now the boundary
is there.
Because you already, now you know, boo.
Yeah.
Now you know. If I would have just blocked and deleted, you wouldn't know that I have a boundary that you're not just finna pop up at our house, especially if we haven't spoken 6 months. Who are you? Just because we related, you just no, that's not how we move. So I'm gonna tell you, then I'm gonna delete you. I'm not gonna block you.
No, but that's good. That's good that you caught yourself in the moment. I think as you get more into your journey, and I mean, God, it takes so much practice though, and I finally feel like this year, because I've really made my practice is a priority. Like, I finally feel like I am noticing those moments where I'm doing something that's my typical behavior, and then I'm like, hold up, okay,
right? Like,
no, you know better, and it'll be better if you respond this way.
Right. Because like nobody, like no one knows how to treat us until we tell them. And so, like, for the longest time, I thought of boundaries as, like, doors, like, or as a wall. Like, when you think of a boundary, it was, like, barrier, like, boom, 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 boom. And you're, like, building all these walls. And now you're boxed in. But if you think of a boundary, it's instead of a wall, and my therapist told me this. She was like, boundaries are not walls, they're doors, right? And so you put up the wall, and then you put the door in. Now that's the boundary. And so this boundary is you will not talk to me any kind of way. So if you can't knock on the door and obey what the door says, you can't come in. So it's an invitation for you to, I'm telling you how to treat me. And if you can't treat me how I'm asking, then you're not going to treat me at all.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. They're doors, not
They are
walls.
doors. They're not walls. Yeah. Or bridges. Like, you're inviting someone to journey with you and, like, continue your life. Because, like, if you put up a wall as a boundary, now this person is stuck at this journey, this point of the journey where you set the boundary, and you're not giving them the opportunity to continue with that. So I have to change the perspective of a boundary. It's like, no, I'm not doing that. But I'm like, if a person is trying to come along the journey with the boundary, like, they're trying.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, thanks for going on that little sidebar.
You're welcome. I love it. I love sidebars.
Okay, so if you could envision a truly inclusive and intersectional spiritual future, what would it look like?
My patio on March 1st.
Yes. Did you notice that I was, like, tearing up?
No, I didn't.
I was so embarrassed. I was literally
Why?
because, oh my God, and I can't remember her name, but she was sitting next to you.
Mirtha.
Yes. And she was talking about, like, just how much of a beautiful soul you are. And I was just, like, really listening. And I was like, this is so sweet. And then I'm, like, tearing up in the corner. And I'm looking around, like, people are smiling, but no one else is crying. I was like, Jasmine, I need tissues.
Oh.
Like, I don't want anyone to see me. I was like, I'm being such a baby right now. But I'm just, like, an emotional human.
No, that's okay.
But no, that's exactly, like, I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah, that's literally, like, if I can imagine a world, it's everybody, like, yes, everybody on the patio was a shade of brown, but not everybody on the patio is black. Mm-hmm. Like, that was, like, Mirtha, she's from Dominican Republic. Mm-hmm. And there was people out there that have white and black parents. There's people out there that have 2 black parents. There are people out there that have parents that are not black, or they don't know their parents and they were adopted by other parents. And so it was just a space where everybody just felt safe, and, like, nobody felt like anybody was judging them, or people just showed up authentic. Like, my neighbors, they just moved here, like, at the beginning of January, and she was telling me, she was like, my husband does not do new people at all. Like, especially, like, we came to the event because we know you, but he was like, babe, I don't know. You know,
there's going to be people he didn't
know.
Right,
it was like, they knew no one, like, but me. And they said, like, from the moment the front door was open, it was just, like, just so much love and inclusivity, and just, they were sad that they had to leave, but they had a prior engagement, but we hung out later, the next couple of days, and it was just like, that was just the most beautiful thing. And yeah, I feel like if people felt seen, then they wouldn't have to do things to be seen. If that makes sense.
No, it does. That was the bar.
Yeah. Because I feel like, even, like, as a child, like, if you think about it as a kid, right? Like, little Juliana, if your parents aren't paying attention to you, and, like, you want them to just, like, hey, mom, just pay attention to me. Like, I'm here. Look at my drawing. And mom's like, yeah, bye. Like,
yeah.
So you go try to show your mom your drawing like 3 times. And finally, you're like, you know what? I'm just going to knock a lamp over and break something. Now I have your attention, right? In order for me to get your attention, I had to do something to cause destruction in order for you to see me. Instead of you just seeing me when I showed up.
Yeah. No, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would explain a lot of the behaviors in my kindergarten class.
Yeah.
Not even from me. They had those issues at home and brought them right to me.
Right, exactly.
Like,
yeah. And that's one of the reasons why I like major in social work is because like I don't want to be a social worker because like power to the LSWs. But I honestly wanted to, like, I was originally medical laboratory science, and that was not my thing. And I just wanted to find a major that's, like, the study of, like, helping people. Like, what degree can I do, or what field can I get in that where I can meet with a person and be like, what do you need to feel successful, right? Like, being equitable, because equality is cute. But when you give people and meet people where they are to give them the tools that they need to become equal, that's way better.
Yeah.
Because, I can't, you tell me I have the right to go to school, but guess what? I live 15 miles away from the school and there's no bus. So, equally can go there, but how do I get there?
Right.
And just meeting people where they are and just helping them be better. Like, that would be the world, my perfect world.
Yes. Maybe someday.
Yeah, it will be. It doesn't even have to be the world, honestly, and like literally just the patio.
Your world,
right?
Yeah.
Like I said that night, if more people just sat on their patio and just had a conversation with random people,
yep,
you'll find out a lot of things that you have way more in common with people than not.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Love that. So last question here. You're the owner of a community called the Black Yogi Collective. Tell the listeners more about it.
Okay, Black Yogi Collective. So it started in 2023. It was just an idea. Like, the name just came up. Like, I was big into yoga, and like I've always said that my goal is to become a therapist, right? And I've always wanted to create like an inclusive space. Yes, I'm a brown man, and I would not prefer, but like I would want patients or people that look like me so they can see that there's somebody that represents them, right? And so,
there's a dog barking. That was so cute. Okay, continue.
But so the business, like I want to be a therapist, and so Black Yogi Collective honestly just came out, like we were talking about earlier, yoga, and like being in spaces where you don't feel included or you don't feel like you belong. And so I wanted to create something that allowed Black and brown people and people of all colors to find a community and find a safe space, because at the end of the day, we're all going through stuff and we all just need some place to feel safe. And home is supposed to be safe, but sometimes home isn't safe. And so sometimes we have to get out of that place and just find a community that makes you feel included. And if that's through yoga, if it's through an event called Books and Blunts, where you're reading books and getting elevated, or through a yoga class where you are being guided to relax because no one has ever told you to relax because you feel like you have to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders, or you need help with writing a resume or anything. Like, it just is a collective. Like, my goal is to bring together, that's what the collective part is. Like, I'm the Black Yogi and the collective are the people. Like, you are part of the collective, and Jasmine is part of the collective, and Danielle and TJ and all these wonderful people that contribute positivity and love and light into the world. I'm like, well, you're doing this by yourself. Let's just get together and just do it together and shine our, like if you think of a birthday candle, right? Or like a birthday cake. So, like, you know how people put all these candles on the cake, and, like, you light one candle, and it's like, oh, the room is like, oh, it's a little twinkle. But then, like, you light all 100 candles on a birthday cake, and it's just, like, this biggest light ever, right?
Yeah.
And so I just look at it like that, as, like, we're just candles, like, continuing the flame of each other's candle.
Yes.
And like, these candles are never gonna go out no matter how much wind tries. Like, one candle may be gone, but guess what? I'm gonna light your candle again, friend. Because your work is important too. Like, we're gonna light the candles of people that have maybe lost hope or don't feel like their candle's worth being lit or lost their candle and now they gotta make a new one. Like, yeah, it's just a collective of people helping other people heal and cultivate mindfulness, healing, and empowerment, and ultimately just making every day a Sunday.
Yes. Yes. Snaps for that. Love that. Well, thank you so much, Sidney, for being on the show.
You're welcome.
Where can the listeners connect with you?
So you can follow me on my personal Instagram. It's private, but you can follow me. It's at healing_my_hurt. And then the Black Yogi Collective one is at Black Yogi Collective. And they're all on Instagram. I also have threads. But that's it. That's my social media. My email address is theblackyogicollective@gmail.com if you want to email me, ask me any questions. But yeah, that's how you get me.
Perfect. I'll be sure to put that in the show notes. Well, that's all that I have for you today, everyone. Thanks so much for listening. If you like this episode, be sure to leave a review and share this podcast. You never know who in your life might resonate with it. Chat with you later.